The aging population in developed countries is turning out to be like a real demographic problem. And the fact that nobody's having kids. You don't want your population to boom forever because the planet is literally finite in space. But, you know, there is an issue with like the labor curve, basically. Kind of requires like a lot of economic restructuring. I think one of the big movements that we're going to see in the future, and we're kind of seeing like a glimpse of it with the Maha stuff with RFK Jr., is we're going to see a push for, and now whether or not this takes a good form or a bad form, we'll see. But we're going to see a push for more health so that older people can work longer. Because a lot of old people are like physically fucked past a point because everyone's fat and stupid. But it's probably going to be required for people to work longer, or expected for people to work longer. Because old retirement used to be what, like 62 or something? And if you have like a robust, healthy country where the average life expectancy is like 87 years old or something, yeah, 62, 63 years retirement, that's pretty young. Like that's pretty young, especially if the government's giving you any kind of like retirement benefits, you know? Like, yeah, that's 25 years. That's like that's a long time. So probably more of a push for people to get healthier so that it's possible for people to have different stages of work in their life, you know? Or like partial retirement, you know? There are jobs that older people could do that would be relatively easy for them, you know, that would be less physically taxing. And I assume if they can't do that, they just die. Well, I'm obviously that would not be a policy I would propose. I'm just talking about a way of addressing the imbalance we have in terms of like economic output versus the average age. Are that many jobs physically taxing these days? Yeah, basically all of them are because we treat workers like shit. The main thing that I go to is the fact that like grocery store checkout workers have to stand. What the fuck? Like you 8 hours a day, you're in an unmoving position. You could literally just have a nice high-backed rotating chair so that you could access the register and scan the items and stuff. But instead they just make old people stand. Like literally just invest in some nice chairs and then they'll be there forever. In Germany, that's legal. Okay, well, I'm talking about America here. And yes, when I worked in retail, I personally knew old people who had foot problems, who had difficulty standing all day, and they'd go to the manager, and the manager would be like, sorry, corporate says that you can't sit in the job because if you stand, it makes you look more attentive. So actually, you have to have like permanent foot and back problems for your whole life, and rack up like medical debt in your older years because we don't want to have you in a chair or something. Aldi stores allow cashiers to sit. Well, I've never been to one. What the actual fuck is the US? Come visit. We have good food. In the meantime, make sure to get good shoes. Orthopedic shoes. That's going to be the big thing, okay? Let me find a way to fit my interests in, all right? That's how we're going to fix the demographic like shift towards older age. We're going to have people wear like orthopedic shoes so they can work for longer. We could literally just work less and be fine. Yeah, obviously like a total restructuring of the economy would be nice, but I'm just talking about the general issue, right? We are economically productive enough that if we wanted to, and everything was nationalized and managed by the state, assuming the state operated at what I guess we could call like a predictable level of inefficiency and graft, you could still provide for everyone's basic needs. Not luxuries, but basic needs all over the world. You know, if you could just like snap your fingers and have a one world order, blah, blah, blah. Now over here in the real world, obviously, you know, things are more complicated than that, but the economic output is still there, you know? What do you think of Crocs or Birkenstocks? Crocs are kind of crap, at least the like default ones. Birkenstocks are good though. You're standing on like leather and cork. That's good. I don't have an issue with Crocs aesthetically. I'm just talking about like ergonomically, you know? Birkenstocks are ugly as fuck. I disagree personally. I think the Birkenstocks look great. Just nice classic sandals. About as good as sandals get, really, unless you're doing something fancy. Really good shoes for high arches. Yeah, because they mold to your feet. Anyway, the average age data is pretty crazy, though. Average age in Russia, 40.3 years old. In China, 39 years old. That's going to be an issue for them. Birkenstocks and calf-high socks as their national dress. You know there's nothing wrong with socks and sandals. The problem is that, like, oftentimes when people wear socks and sandals, they don't pair it with anything else that they're wearing. You know? Like, if you're wearing socks and sandals and you're also wearing, like, beachy linen pants or, like, long lounge shorts or something, it's perfectly aesthetically congruent, you know? It's just that people would wear socks and sandals with, like, jeans or you know what I mean? Like, they would wear them, like, in like, an athletic garb, like, with a track pant or something, and it's just like, what are you wearing, you know? What are you doing? It's a vibe. India's 28, they're mogging the entire planet. They have a lot of kids. Rural Punjab is depopulating like crazy due to outmigration of youth and nobody starting families. I mean, that's happened in like every country that's developed, right? The opportunities dry up in the countryside. Everyone moves into the city, and then like the rural areas kind of die off. I don't know, man. Managing India seems like so administratively impossible. I have no idea how you could even begin to apply any kind of political solutions to the problems that country has, because it's so big and so complicated, you know? Like, and I'm not saying this as though it's a good thing. At least Germany, or sorry, not Germany, at least China's an ethno-state, more or less. The Han Chinese are like the overwhelming majority and their government favors them, so they just frame everything through the lens of like Han Chinese supremacy, which does make things simpler. Whereas with India, it's like, there's like as many fucking ethnic groups as there are people. Jesus Christ, you know? Yeah, there's so many damn subgroups. China's not an ethno-state. It's not an ethno-state in the sense that there is literally one single ethnicity. It is an ethno-state in the sense that it's run with the intention of favoring a given ethnic group and is overwhelmingly made up of that group, yeah. That's why India's never been super united. Makes sense. List of ethnic groups in China. I'm not saying there aren't other ethnic groups in China. 91.5% of the population are classified as Han Chinese. That's insane, by the way. In a country of 1.4 billion, for 91.5% to be Han Chinese, that's insane. Like, that is wild.